The United Kingdom has launched a sweeping crackdown on illegal migrants working within the gig economy. Over the past several weeks, immigration enforcement teams have carried out targeted raids across the country, focusing on migrant workers in the delivery sector. The results have been striking. On the 9th of August 2025, the Home Office confirmed that 280 migrants were arrested in a single coordinated operation. Many of those detained now face instant deportation, while others are undergoing immediate reviews of their asylum support, visas, and settled status. This marks one of the UK's most significant enforcement drives in recent years, and it signals a decisive shift in how the government intends to handle illegal migration and unlawful employment. The initiative has been formally named Operation Equalise. It was a week-long intensification exercise running between the 20th and 27th of July and involved immigration enforcement officers, local police forces, and trading standards teams. During this period, some 1,780 individuals were stopped and questioned while working in delivery roles. Out of these, 280 were confirmed to be working illegally and were detained. The focus of Operation Equalise was clear: to target delivery riders in the gig economy who were operating without the legal right to work in the UK. These roles, often seen as flexible, low-barrier opportunities, have become a significant point of entry for individuals seeking informal employment. Yet for the government, this flexibility has created a breeding ground for abuse of the immigration system. The Home Office has explained that food delivery and courier services were chosen as a primary focus because they have become a hotspot for illegal work. Delivery platforms such as Deliveroo, Uber Eats, and Just Eat rely on thousands of self-employed riders across the UK. For many migrants, particularly those awaiting asylum decisions or those with limited immigration status, such jobs provide quick cash-in-hand opportunities. Some riders even used false identities or borrowed accounts from others with the right to work. But ministers argue that this undermines the system in several ways. Firstly, it deprives legal workers of opportunities. Secondly, it places an unfair burden on taxpayers who fund asylum support for those claiming refuge. And thirdly, it encourages criminal networks that profit from providing fake documents or facilitating illegal employment. The arrests have already led to swift action. 53 individuals now face reviews of their asylum support, a process that could lead to their accommodation and financial assistance being suspended. For those found working illegally, the consequences are stark. Many face removal from the UK. Others risk losing their pending asylum claims or having their settled status revoked if they are proven to have deliberately broken the law. The government has been clear: anyone caught abusing the system will face consequences, from the loss of support payments to outright deportation. During raids, officers were recorded shouting clear commands: "Police, do not move," as they moved in to detain riders.
Careful. Police, stay where you are! Police.
In some cases, delivery bikes were seized on the spot, alongside cash and even illicit goods, such as counterfeit cigarettes. In Birmingham, for example, police confiscated 25 e-bikes in a single day of enforcement. In West London, 7 Indian nationals were arrested, with 5 detained immediately. Meanwhile, in Scotland, enforcement teams working alongside trading standards officers made arrests linked not only to illegal working but also to tobacco smuggling. These operations illustrate how illegal working often intersects with wider forms of organised crime. It is not so a matter of individuals trying to earn extra money. It is part of a larger chain of unlawful activity that the government says it is determined to break apart. To support these intensified efforts, the Home Office has announced a £5 million funding boost for enforcement teams. This money, drawn from a wider £100 million border security investment, will allow immigration officers to revisit hotspots more frequently and increase the number of raids across the country. The government is also introducing new legal requirements, ensuring that all companies, including gig economy platforms, must verify that their workers have the legal right to work in the UK. This represents a significant shift. For years, delivery platforms operated with limited responsibility for verifying riders' immigration status. The new rules mean that failure to conduct checks could result in hefty fines and civil penalties for the companies themselves. Dame Angela Eagle, the Minister for Border Security and Asylum, made her position clear. She stated, "Illegal working undermines our border security, and we are cracking down hard on it. This government is making sure rules are respected and enforced. This operation is just one example of our relentless efforts to bear down on organised immigration crime at every level in our community." Similarly, Annie Montgomery, the Home Office's Director of Enforcement, Compliance and Crime, praised her teams for their tireless work. She emphasised that enforcement officers are operating around the clock and welcomed the additional funding, which she said would strengthen their ability to disrupt illegal working. One of the more controversial aspects of the new approach is the partnership between the Home Office and major delivery firms. Companies such as Deliveroo, Uber Eats and Just Eat are now receiving direct information about the locations of asylum hotels. The idea is to prevent individuals housed at taxpayer expense from simultaneously taking up illegal work as delivery riders. Critics, however, argue that this risks stigmatizing asylum seekers and could lead to discriminatory practices by companies trying to avoid penalties. This crackdown also forms part of a much wider immigration strategy. Just weeks before Operation Equalise, the UK signed a new treaty with France aimed at tackling small boat crossings in the Channel. Under this agreement, anyone arriving in the UK by small boat can be detained immediately and returned to France. The government has already begun implementing this policy, with detentions confirmed. When seen together, these moves paint a picture of a government determined to tighten its borders, disrupt smuggling networks, and reduce the incentives for illegal migration. Since coming into power just over a year ago, the government claims to have returned more than 3,500 individuals with no right to remain in the UK. This includes failed asylum seekers, immigration offenders, and foreign nationals convicted of crimes. The Home Office also highlights that the number of asylum hotels in use has been reduced, saving millions of pounds in public expenditure. These savings, ministers say, can be reinvested into border security and enforcement. The government describes its strategy as a whole-system approach. This means tackling illegal migration from every angle. In practice, this approach is designed to remove the economic incentives that draw people into the UK illegally in the first place. If there are no jobs available, and if support is withdrawn for those who break the rules, the government believes fewer people will risk making dangerous journeys across the Channel. Of course, not everyone supports these measures. Critics argue that the focus on delivery riders is disproportionate and risks criminalising vulnerable individuals who may have been misled into believing they could work. Rights groups have expressed concern about the partnership between the Home Office and delivery companies, warning that it could lead to surveillance and discrimination. Others have questioned whether deporting individuals at such scale is practical, given the limited number of return agreements with other countries. Nonetheless, ministers insist that the British public expects strong action. With immigration at the top of the political agenda, the government is keen to demonstrate that it is both tough on illegal working and committed to protecting taxpayers. The coming months are expected to see an even greater intensification of enforcement. With new funding secured and legislation moving through Parliament, immigration officers will have more power and resources at their disposal. We can expect further raids, more arrests, and stricter checks on businesses and gig economy platforms. For those working illegally, the message is clear. The government will find you, and you will face removal. Yet the debate is far from over. Questions remain about the balance between enforcement and compassion, about the effectiveness of deportations, and about how to address the underlying causes of migration. The arrest of 280 migrants in the delivery sector marks a pivotal moment in the UK's immigration enforcement strategy. Through Operation Equalise, the government is sending a strong message. Illegal working will not be tolerated, support will be withdrawn from those who abuse the system, and deportations will follow swiftly. With partnerships in place, new laws on the horizon, and millions of pounds allocated to enforcement, this is only the beginning of a broader campaign to reshape the UK's immigration landscape. For now, delivery riders across Britain are under unprecedented scrutiny, and the Home Office is determined to ensure that only those with the right to work can do so. This has been a special report. Stay tuned for further updates as the story develops.